Hello and welcome to Cherry Street Chat, the official podcast of the Seattle Spectator. My name is Caleb Stipkovits, and I'm the managing editor of the Spectator.
And I'm Chloe Platt, the editor-in-chief.
And well, we're very excited to kick off our second season of Cherry Street Chat. That's right, it's officially called the second season. We have a producer who doesn't want to call it season 2. But we're really excited to start our second season. We had a lot of fun filming our 7 episodes last quarter. We're super excited to get into it this quarter and start filming our episodes now.
And joining us today, we have an award-winning drag queen and Seattle U alum. She's the South Sound Miss Congeniality and Miss Community 2025. Please welcome us. I think we're going to clap after this.
Yes, we are.
Isabella L. Richards to the show.
Oh, thank you.
And joining Isabella is Collin Durfee, the event coordinator for Triangle Club and sometimes known as Gale Marriage.
Well, welcome to the show. We're really excited to have you. Thanks for coming on.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be
Thank
here.
you. Yeah.
Absolutely, yeah. So, well, let's get into the interview. So, I guess, can you just tell us a little bit about yourselves?
Yeah, okay. My name is Collin Durfee. I am a fourth-year political science major. I am the event coordinator for Triangle Club, which is Seattle University's biggest LGBT student union. And I am also a drag queen who goes by the name Gale Marriage. And I perform usually only at SU shows, but I've dabbled in some University of Oregon shows. So, yeah.
Yeah, and I'm Isabella L. Richards. I am a proud alum of Seattle U, class of 2018, College of Ed, whoop whoop. I also have been performing in drag for about 13 years. Started in Madison, Wisconsin, and moved to Washington in 2016 and have just been here ever since. I, by day, am very much living my Hannah Montana fantasy. I work in education as well, so during the day I'm fundraising and doing all sorts of things like that, and then at night, or sometimes at brunch every couple of weeks, I'm performing as Isabella and representing as Miss Community. So yeah, just really grateful to be here and to share a little bit more today.
Well, thank you so much for coming. I am interested for both of you what inspired you to get into drag, and I would also love to know the origin of your drag names, if you're willing.
Do you want to go first?
You can go first, yeah.
Okay. So I'm a queer individual for a very long time, but I never really interacted with the queer community in any way. And then the pandemic hit, and I discovered this web series with the drag queens Trixie and Katya called and I was just so obsessed with the makeup they were doing and the looks and the humor, and I'm like, I gotta get into this industry somehow. But because of the pandemic, I didn't get to go to any drag shows. Plus, also I was 17, so too young. And then during my first year of college, which was at the University of Oregon, I saw their drag show, and it was so cool getting to see both these professionals and these amateur performers who were a lot like me. They were students, they were regular people who just also lived a double life as drag queens and drag kings and stuff. And it was so inspiring to me to see just people getting on stage and doing their art. And yeah, and then Gale Marriage is because it's a pun. It's a play on gay marriage. I find that term really funny because gay marriage is just marriage, and everyone loves to separate marriage and gay marriage. I'm it's a play on kind of this homophobic othering, but also it's just hilarious. Yeah.
For me, I got into drag on accident. A friend of mine was doing a fundraiser for a pageant that they were going to be competing for, and said, "Hey, you should do this thing. Have you ever thought about it?" And I was like, "Absolutely not." So it was very quick, and I came up with the first name that came to mind, which at the time Twilight was a big thing, and so I was like, I want something that is still relevant to my culture, but also still has a shortened nickname that is quick to say, so Isabella Bella. And then originally it was Isabella Renee, because that was just what I landed on. I had a drag family who sort of took me under their wing initially, and so that's where the L came from. I was Isabella Latois. And then as I progressed in my career, my second drag family that I had, their last name was Richards, and so I became Isabella L. Richards to both honor where I started and then also to acknowledge sort of where I was at that stage. Yeah, I never really thought to do anything super campy, and I probably should have now thinking about it. I just really wanted to sort of give like this natural like persona, I guess, and that's where it landed.
Awesome. I really like hearing both of your origin stories. I mean, those
Yeah.
are super cool, and I like how you kind of have like built off of your name as time has gone on. I'm curious. I know you also mentioned some people who your drag family, maybe people who inspired you, but who are some drag artists who have inspired both of you? And do you have any favorite drag artists?
Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry, I don't want to overtake
No,
this.
you're good.
Yeah, so for a while it was like the comedy queens, Trixie and Katya and stuff. And then I got really into alternative drag because I don't listen to like the same pop music that like most drag performers listen to, so I like couldn't really relate to the numbers they were doing and stuff. So I got really into this competition show called Dragula, which is like drag but for spooky, scary drag queens and stuff. And yeah, so going off of that, probably my favorite drag performer is a Korean drag performer. I don't know if she's still around, named Hoso Teratoma. She's called like Scary Trixie, which, you know, no one likes being compared to like other drag queens and stuff, but like it's incredible. And then there's also a Spanish drag queen I really like called I'm gonna try to pronounce this correctly. Ugacio Cruciente, who does like these incredible like multi-colorful drag looks. They're like all framed around like with the physical objects, and I think it's so fascinating.
Yeah, mine, I think a lot about, I mean, there's a lot of mainstream drag queens that have come about, obviously, because of the Drag Race universe, but I also think even before that, like Alyssa Edwards was like a really prominent like pageant queen and great dancer and entertainer. I think about a few of the mentors that I had, like Miami Knight, who was in Madison and Green Bay, Wisconsin, and now she's in LA. I think about Cece LaRouche, who is another person that really helped me get my start. I just think that there's a lot of really amazing local talent that oftentimes doesn't get showcased because it's usually what's on the mainstream media right now. And so I really think, or I guess look to sort of the local performers in my area to inspire what I do.
That's awesome. And you're also quite the inspiring figure yourself, I would say. I know you're serving as Miss Community 2025. I'm interested to know what that entails.
Yeah. So Miss Community was a pageant that was started back in 2011 by LaSaviana Hunt. She was a very well-known drag queen here in Capitol Hill especially, and had gone on to win a ton of pageants, and was a regular cast member at Our Place, which is now massive, but it used to be Our Place, for the Lashes show. And she really wanted to establish a pageant that sort of helped to represent the different facets of our community. And so over the years, it has just continued to grow. So I competed in December, and the categories for it are daytime realness, which is really like a look that kind of like banshee, but also like something that you would wear in the daytime. And then your typical like talent evening gown, and usually question and answer. And so this year I did like an Elle Woods inspired daytime realness look, and that was super cute. And the competition itself really is designed to create access to all members of the community. And typically for folks who maybe don't always see themselves represented, or maybe don't view themselves as someone who has a voice and a purpose. And so I've really prided myself on being someone who uses this platform to be able to amplify and uplift the artistry that exists all across the Sound. It's really easy, I think, to see your favorites at every venue and to love that, and to know that you can count on them to be there every time. And I also think that there is value in being able to see the new and up and coming drag that's here in the community. and giving them space and an opportunity to grow. And so that's really what I have built my brunches around, and really what I hope to continue to do over the course of my reign through December.
Love that.
Thank
When
you.
I think right now is such a tumultuous time, just like politically, it's such a tumultuous time to be a person, but even more so for drag. And I'm curious for both of you, as anti-LGBTQ plus rhetoric and anti-drag rhetoric continues to be perpetuated, how has performing drag or the meaning of drag changed to you?
I think this would be a good question for you to take first.
Sure. So, I'm processing where I wanna start. I
Yeah.
think in some ways it's scary. You don't know how people are gonna perceive what you're doing. Even today, I'll share, like, I had messaged Collin before arriving to campus and was like, hey, would you mind meeting me, like, so we can walk down together? I've never felt that way in Capitol Hill before, right? And not that there's really been anything in Capitol Hill that would make me feel that way, but we just don't know who's out here. And with our campus being a little bit more open, you just never really want to take that risk. And so I think for me, it's added a little bit of extra caution. And I also think that this is like prime time for me to be holding a title like this, because I have an opportunity to use my platform to be able to amplify the issues that are existing in our community and within our systems, and really encourage people to think about how they can actually demonstrate allyship in support of our artistry. Because a lot of folks come out to the venue to see us perform and they love that, but they don't always think about like what it takes for us to get there to do it. And so in order for us to keep those spaces and shows like going, we have to have strong allies who are willing to go up to bat for us, not just at the poll booth, but also like making sure that they are actively showing up for us in all of the ways and not just when it feels convenient.
Kind of building off of that, I had a similar experience to what she was having on the way here. I'm wearing very little makeup for anyone that's listening, just some red eyeliner, and yet people were still looking at me like really weird walking down just from Douglas, which like literally crossing the street to Murphy's. And I'm like, oh, so you live in Capitol Hill, but you're looking at me like I'm the weird one because I'm wearing makeup? Like, what is going on there? And it's like, it feels very isolating to have people who you don't even know just like treating you differently because you're gay or because you do drag. Even worse for me because I'm gay and do drag. And even at this school, which is like a bastion of like progress, I still like have had to have some awkward conversations with people being like, yeah, well, just because I'm gay doesn't mean I have to explain all these things to you and stuff. But not to like self-promote, but like I do think these are reasons why like these amateur drag shows at universities are important, because school is like supposed to be a place for people to thrive and stuff, and like drag may be someone's tool to thrive. Someone was telling me how at Texas A&M down in wherever in Texas that is, they recently canceled their drag show because they were worried about like homophobic rhetoric, and or they were conspiring with homophobic rhetoric. And even though I'm not sure that'll happen here, I think it's important that we keep fighting for it to happen here, because UW Seattle does not have a drag show. SPU obviously does not have a drag show. Cornish does, but they're a smaller community and don't have the same access to the larger Seattle community that SU has. And it's just imperative that we like show up for queer communities when they showcase their art like this, as well as we as queer individuals actually participate in this art to keep the lifeblood going and to keep the fire alive.
Yeah, really good answers from both of you. And kind of going off of both of your answers, like, do you think, especially going to the next 4 years or so, do you feel like that kind of also makes drag have like a heightened importance, or does it kind of make your work even more so important for the community? Or
Yeah, I would say definitely. I have felt more moved now more than ever, which is probably not helpful to say, but I do think like when I see everything that's happening in our world right now, we need people who are not afraid to step up and not afraid to speak out and not afraid to talk about the challenges that we're facing. I usually at my brunch speak to that every single show. And it's not necessarily the conversation around us versus them as much as it is about how to be just a decent human being and to just acknowledge that two things can be true at the same time. We can have a really difficult situation in front of us for the next couple of years, and we can also actively think about the ways that we can continue to show up and to do the work to ensure that our neighbors, our family, our community is safe. And that is free. It doesn't take a ticket to do that, right? It literally just takes for us to actually look out for each other. And I feel like growing up, I felt that a lot more. And as an adult, especially an adult who works in education, it makes me nervous to think about like how our students and how our kids are experiencing the world right now and how that will inform their experience as adults down the line.
Yeah. Triangle Club has been keeping like a close eye on every like action it could affect LGBT students going forward, so we know how to navigate resources regarding those things. I also work for Mosaic, so that's an extra resource that like we've been going to. We're like, okay, we don't know what to do about this, and like they may not know either, or they may know, and then we like all try and like pour resources together. At our Queer Friendsgiving, people were coming up and they're like, I don't know what to do about like this and this and this, and we're like, okay, you go to SGSU, you go to like Mosaic, you go to, I don't remember another resource we named, but like some kind of resource. So we've been very proactive about trying to make sure that we are not only creating environments for queer people to thrive, but we are also doing our best to be a resource for queer people. And, you know, it's scary. Our president is a trans woman, our president of SGSU, no, not SGSU, Triangle Club, not anyone else, but our president is a trans woman, and she was an ROTC, and she struggled with that, especially with all the military like orders that have been coming out from the Trump administration. And it's so hard seeing someone I'm so close to suffer like this. And it really like puts like yourself in perspective.
Well, I want to thank you both for doing what you do. I think we often undermine how much self-expression in all of its forms is resistance, is movement. As a queer person myself, the art of drag has been really formative in me coming into my identity, and so just as little as I know it is in the grand scheme of all that is happening, I do extend a thank you to both of you. Collin, I hear there's an upcoming opportunity for students to support drag on campus. Would you like to talk about it?
Yes. So as the event coordinator for Triangle Club, I am in charge of planning our annual drag show. This year it is Wickedly Queer, an SU drag show. It is our 20th anniversary drag show because our first one was in 2005. Very exciting. And it's going to be a great show. We have the incredible drag queen Kylie Mooncakes and the great, incredible drag king King Jack being our illustrious host. It's going to be so exciting. They're so great to work with. They're also incredible performers. As someone who is a purveyor of local drag, they are the best of the best.
It's true.
Them and Isabel L. Richards. And it's going to be incredible. We have a bunch of performers from Cornish coming because we're trying to promote unity between the Cornish drag community and the SU drag community. We have an SU performer who has never done drag before, who is going to be making her debut. So exciting. I'm going to be making what could be potentially my last drag performance ever, which is like kind of my swan song, unless I get invited back. We'll see. But like, yeah, and it's also a great opportunity to not only support Triangle Club, which is, as we said, SU's largest queer student association, but also support someone in our community. King Jack, our host, was fired from their job in education because of the fact that they are a drag performer. Just a really interesting article in the Seattle Stranger about it. Highly recommend you check it out. But we wanted to show solidarity with him. So not only is he hosting, like, first hosting gig at our school, he's also ideally the proceeds, half of the proceeds from the show will be going towards him. And it's very important to show up and show out, especially in this environment for queer students, queer performers, the queer community at large, allies, pretty much everyone, even education, to like show up for this. And not only is it important, but it's going to be so much fun. And I am so happy to be here talking to you about it. So yeah.
That's very exciting.
Can we also get a date on that and time and
yes.
any other information for just the little technicalities?
Yes. April 16th, show starts at 7, doors open at 6. Should go until 9 to 9:30. It's not going to be a super long show. Personal anecdote, I once went to and performed in a drag show that was 4 hours long and ended at about 12:30 a.m., which was awful. So shout out the University of Oregon. Yeah.
Go Ducks.
Yeah.
Go
Ducks. Yeah. It's actually Sco Ducks.
Oh,
Yeah.
Skoducks.
Yeah.
Amazing. Well, yeah, make sure to check it out. Make sure that you're there. You have all the details. You have the pitch. So
You have no
you have
excuses.
no excuses. And
Yeah.
ooh, I just hit the mic. You have no excuses.
We will be expelling one lucky student who does not come to the show, so watch out. It could be you.
In a surprise raffle.
Raffle, yeah.
And a surprise
The host
raffle.
will actually get to choose who it is, so
Yeah.
that's
So-
really exciting.
You better come. That's what we're saying. Awesome. Well, I think now it's time for our fun segment. So today, for our fun segment, we're gonna simulate. I mean, Chloe, maybe you're the better person to explain this, but we're gonna pretend that we're kicking off our careers in drag.
I'm not pretending.
Okay, well, we're not. We're actually contractually. If you see in our program here, we have our signed names that we will be starting drag after this. So that's what that is. So we're gonna simulate kicking off our careers, starting with. I think we're gonna start off with names.
Names.
Okay.
Do you guys have like advice on how to kind of conjure a name? Whether, I know we had Twilight, I know we had kind of a pun on some homophobic rhetoric.
Yeah. I find a lot of joy in finding like a 2-word phrase and making a name out of that.
Okay.
Like
okay.
before Gale Marriage, I was going to be Mercury Poisoning because
Okay.
I thought it would be fierce and alternative,
Mhm.
but also like, Mercury is not a name. So like if you can find if you want to be a drag king, a male or female like alternative, like play on a first name or something, that's great. And then like a fierce last name. You could even do like cool drag last names like she does or something.
Okay.
I've also heard too, like the math equation of like your first pet's name and the street that you grew up on.
Max Pine, I think.
See?
It could be Max
Wow.
Pine.
Dude,
There
mine
you
would be
go.
Cheddar Clinton.
Wait,
Why is that
that's
looking kind of
good!
hard?
That's actually kinda
yeah,
weird.
I was
Cheddar
just gonna
Clinton
say
is actually,
that's
like-
looking kind of good.
There is
I
Do
was-
we have Cheddar Clinton
that
over here?
that clicked in my head. I was like, wait, that's a good formula. I was like,
See?
Wait.
There's a
I'm writing
drag
that
queen
down.
in the UK named Cheddar Gorgeous. So like
Really?
Cheddar's already an established drag name.
okay.
So, it
I
wouldn't
think
be that out of
I'm not like my hair's not red, so I feel like that might like kind of not correlate too much. I feel like Cheddar's like
Yet.
would kind of yet, but we'll see. Yeah.
mine would be Cleo 138.
138.
Hey,
You know what? Honestly, that's a very long lineage of,
Yeah.
of family. Mine would have been Smoky Westwind.
oh,
Right.
Okay.
It's
Very
like,
Smoky
ooh,
Westwind.
very that. But no, it didn't happen. But that's one way that people say to do it. Yeah, I guess it's really just up to you and whatever sort of energy you're wanting to bring. What kind of, sorry, not to turn on you, what kind of energy do you feel like you want to bring to the stage?
I feel just like erratic, untamed,
Ooh.
sassy energy is like my goal.
Yeah.
I gotta get there. My last name is Platt. Bleep this. I was thinking like platypus. would be
Nice.
one, kind of toying with that.
Yeah.
My little sister's drag name is Lotion.
There's a drag queen named Lotion.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
She spells it Loshun. Shout out, little sister. But
Yes.
I don't know. Maybe I'm like Serum or something along that line. Keep it in the family.
I love it. I think it would be so good.
Okay.
Legendary House of Moisturizer.
Yes.
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 Yeah.
We'll get the other sister, my mom, in on it. All of her. Okay.
What kind of energy would I bring? It's a really good question that I don't fully know how to answer. I think I'm very stiff. I think that's the main thing that comes to my mind is that like I probably would not be a good performer because I'm like really stiff and I'm really awkward. And so I'm not sure like I don't know, but I'm also kind of I've been told I'm a little sassy. I don't know. Would you confirm?
Yes. As
Yeah.
both your employer and friend,
Sure.
I would say yes, we're sassy.
Yeah. I am sassy. So I bring some sassy energy. I don't really know. I don't know. What else would I bring? And maybe you observe me more than I observe myself. What else do I got?
Stubborn.
All right.
Hard to talk to.
Hard to talk
Yeah,
to.
not really great to be around.
Yeah. Should be fired from the Spectator.
Might
Come on,
be
it's the
fired
first
for the-
it's the first episode of the quarter.
We'll
Honestly,
work
you
on
should-
it.
All right, all
Like
right.
you're describing like the park and bark is what we call that.
The
in
park and
drag.
bark?
It's when
Okay.
you like, it's very like give them nothing, but not really. It's like, we joke about it in the pageant world as like, oh, instead of me like going out and doing the high energy number, like your parking and barking is like when you're wearing a gown and you're doing like, you know, that inspirational number or the ballad where you're just literally walking around and collecting tips.
Okay.
So maybe that would work if you're like, if you
do
know
that.
that stiffness is something that you are dealing with in your life. Like maybe that's just.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, you should do a
Collect
pageant.
money.
Yeah.
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 A pageant. Okay.
Yeah.
Taking more notes.
Yeah,
You know,
There
from
you
write
go.
our
that down. Write that down.
pageants.
Miss Community is
Yeah.
actually 4 divisions:
Yeah.
Mr., Miss, MS, and then Mix Community. So there's different divisions, so you can choose whatever
Got
journey you want to go.
4
on.
divisions. All right.
And
There you go.
and
4
if I can
chances.
plug the SU Drag Show a little bit more, there will be a lip sync competition, which you could participate in.
Yeah.
Talk to me after the show, and we could find
Alright.
a way. We could find a way to get the host to choose you specifically. I'm
Got
sure.
it.
We're
Lip
on it.
sync practice.
Okay,
Lip
behind the
syncing.
scenes, Triangle Club accepts bribes.
There we go.
Yes.
Yep. Bribes.
Insider tip.
Yeah.
Yes.
No, only me. Don't pay anyone else. Just me. yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Awesome. Well, we also have to be mindful of time because the producers are giving us the 5-minute sign, and they're the producers,
You
right?
know
We
producers
don't
are.
like them, do we? Sorry, guys.
no.
Anyways, I think should we try to think of one more thing that could really help us kickstart our career before we sign out for the day?
What lip sync would you do? Like, what song do you think you could embody in a lip sync?
Oh.
I'm gonna say
There
"Single
are
Ladies"
wrong answers.
by Beyonce because when I was 5 years old, that was my favorite song, and I would go. My mom worked in a school. I would go to her school and the auditorium during summer, and I would like sing that song in the microphone.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I
yeah.
from a young age knew how to perform that song. I could do it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hark and bark to single ladies. Wow.
Yeah. I don't know how that would. I feel like
Honestly,
those don't really
I
go
think
hand in
that'd be
hand. but-
iconic. It's
you did the
it's
ham
very
thing.
campy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cheddar Clinton.
Cheddar
Cheddar
Clinton.
Just turning it out.
Yeah. What about you?
I think I could really rock 9 to 5 by Dolly.
Oh,
think-
yeah.
I think I could bring that energy.
I might have to speak to you after the show
Oh.
about something
Okay.
related to that.
Oh.
Yeah.
We'll talk.
We'll talk.
We'll-
Yeah.
Wait, what was yours? What was your first drag song?
Oh, me? You were actually there. Actually, you both were there.
I was there.
Mine was "Settle Down" by Kimbra, which is a New Zealand song about being in love with someone who doesn't like you. And I've had a crush on a fair amount of straight men, so it was kind of like inspired by that and stuff. So, yay! And I gave birth to a baby on stage.
Yes.
You can look it up on YouTube.
I was there for that. I remember that.
Yeah.
That was the moment I knew the level of iconic performance and stage presence that you had.
Thank you.
Do you remember your first?
Yes. My first number ever was, I don't know if you all remember Carmen. Carmen was like this, they were like a couple and they sang this song called Broken Hearted, and we're gonna link it in the bio.
In the
No.
In the caption.
No, but the song was Hello. And it was very symbolic because it was my first time ever doing it. So now it's nice to do it because, you know what, maybe I'll do that on Sunday. I haven't done that in a very long time.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much for joining us today. We really appreciate you coming out. For viewers and listeners at home, thanks for joining us as well. Make sure that you're following us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or YouTube if you're watching visually. But yeah, so thank you so much for watching. And we always like to sign off the show by saying, see you next time on Cherry Street. So I'm going to count us down from 3, and then we're all going to say it. Is everybody ready?
Ready.
All right. 3, 2, 1. See
you
next
next time on
Cherry
Cherry
Street.